Good day, YouTube. I think it's the 2nd of November, 2019. Show you what I got this week. We're going to do a little video on Yamaha amplifiers. This package contains a couple of used, because that's how I roll, amplifier EV7100. I got my first one locally from a company that travels. Wow, they package this thing really well. They're so heavy. They travel actually to prisons, and they have a ministry. I got my first EV7100 amplifier in a package deal when that group did some equipment upgrades, and I purchased all their old equipment. If I can do this without cutting anything. And quite honestly, I'd let it sit for quite a while before I ever even used it. And then when I put it into use, when I was first building the mystery machine, I put it in there, and that wasn't even the first amp I put in there. It was like I burned up a couple because I had some old junky speakers, and anyway, before I knew what I was doing anyway, burned up a couple of home stereo type amplifiers, and then started with my first EV7100, and then really learned to like it. And then purchased another, and then another. So I had 3 in the mystery machine. And then as I started to build the step van, I elected not to pull any equipment from the mystery machine and to purchase everything again for the step van. See if I can cut it up this direction. And so I have 2 EV7100s in the step van, and then I have a couple of Peavey amps and a couple other brands and stuff like that. All of them more power, advertised power, than these. There's one. Oh, they're so heavy. But they're compact. They only take up 1 space in the amplifier rack, which is awesome. Number of reasons I choose these. Let me set this one aside. So one of which is their size. I could have 4 of these in the same space as the 2 of either other brands that I have in the rack in the step van right now. And I've used the other amplifiers, and they sound fine. They're all rated for more power than this one, but I can't honestly say that I'm getting any more performance out of either the vintage Peaveys or the 2 more modern amplifiers. I can't even remember. One of them was a Sun and one's a Crown or something. And they're fine. This is missing the bolts, but they said that in the ad for the front. Somebody probably took it out of the rack that way. Anyway. Here's the other. So cool, right? Where was I going? So I can get 4 of these in a space of 2. The other, and probably one of the bigger issues is the power draw. I ran just one of the Peavey. I think they're 400 watt. These are like rated to be just under 300 watt. Output, but the generator, I was using a small EU1000 Honda generator to power it and all the other equipment I was using that day, and I noticed it was trying to rev the generator. And to explain that, I use it on eco throttle mode, which probably senses, somewhere in the 400 or 500 watt range. It wants to rev the generator up to give it that more power. But it's very efficient if I run it in eco mode. It's also quieter if I run it in eco mode. And I can run 2 of these comfortably, 3 of them if I'm not running them too hard, all in eco mode without revving the generator. In the step van, the one time I was using the Peavey 400 watt amplifier, it wanted to rev the generator by itself, 1. So it's drawing 2.5 times the power that these do. These sound very good. I'm not giving up quality. These might even sound better than any of the other ones that I have. I like them a lot for every reason I just explained. They're smaller, take up less room, they draw less power, they sound as good or better than any of the other amplifiers that I have. And they've been very durable. Reliable is probably the good word. I have one set of speakers that I personally did some work on, and I have the impedance jacked up on it, and I had one of these that was heating up and tripping out, and I was pretty sure it was just, it was a hot day and I was just overheating it, and I added more ventilation and I turned it back on like a million times, and I finally burnt one side of it out. I abused the daylights out of it and I lost 1/2 of it. Beyond that, these have been flawless and I've been using them for years. So the other thing is, if I watch eBay really hard for these amplifiers, this gives me 8 total, I believe, and then the one that I lost one side on, which I kind of keep around for testing purposes. So I usually buy them when I can pick them up. I started buying them for when they were $100 plus freight, and then I've been trying to pick them up when I can get them for $100 shipped. And I got these for, I'm trying to remember now, about $160 or $180 for the pair shipped, and they came in one box. I saw one seller that had 2 separate ads for 2 of these, and I wanted both of them. I made them an offer and I accepted it. So that's how I end up with my equipment, and I don't spend a fortune for it. So what I want to do today is I'll show you on the back side. These are set up with banana plugs, or you can put a ring terminal on them or something. I'm going to get these set up with banana plugs to a short cord with a female 1/4 inch mono plug jack on it, so that I can plug my speaker cables into that, and I'll funnel these out from the back of the amplifier rack out to the front where I can get at them, and I'll label them. And that is the task for today. I have an opportunity next weekend to do some Christmas music in our town, downtown, for a few hours. Some event they have going on called Christmas Unwrapped. It's unveiling all of the store's windows. All their decorations and stuff are all going to be revealed next Thursday night. And right now I don't know which van I'm taking. It's going to be weather dependent. So I like my stuff out in the rain, but I want to do as good a job for them as I can. And I might want to take the step van. So anyway, let me show you what I'm building, the cords that I'm building, and we'll get these things wired up and get them mounted today in the rack. It's time to do some rack rearrangements and get these EV amps in there, and probably take out, sad to say, because I'm a huge Peavey fan, I really wanted to run all Peavey stuff. I'm probably going to take the Peaveys out of the rack and put these in, because this is what I really want to run. And part of the reason I was telling you that these things are more, they draw less power for the same or better output, is that I have the ability to run the step van on batteries and an inverter. And these will simply make the batteries last a lot longer. So, and that's part of it. So, I'll show you what else I got going on. So I built a couple cables. I'll show you what I'm building. Again, these use a banana plug for the outputs. So I went ahead and bought some banana plugs, and I just made short cables out of some speaker cable. And I put on a couple of mono jacks. Show you what I'm building. So I bought a bunch of these. They're red and black identified banana plugs, gold plated, whatever. And then a bunch of these jacks. So I'll kind of get set up, show you what I'm doing. I've got all my wires cut. I'm making enough for 4 amplifiers, so I'm making 8 cables. That's what we're doing. Got all my little setups done. It's kind of tedious, but it's worth taking your time. Make these right. Hang on just a second. All right, let's put one together. So what I've done, let's set that over there. On the first couple is take the jack apart. Set that there. Comes with a little shrink tube. I'm going to cut a piece of this. I'll show you why in a little bit. It's just how I'm doing it. It's probably not the right way. Again, if I've failed to tell you in the past, this isn't a how-to video. It's a how I do it video. Y'all can do it the way you want. I've had people comment like, for a how-to video is not enough information, or you do too much talking, or whatever. I go, I've never made a how-to video, so I don't even know what you're talking about. I make how I do it videos. Just trying to remember how much I was stripping off of this. It's kind of a plastic jacket, so that pops right off. Get these little nylon stringy dingies in here. You're gone. That might be a little long. What I'm going to do is strip the black wire long, and I'm going to solder it to this back strap here. That's the, sorry for the terminology, I'm going to call it the ground side. And then either one of these connection points are your tip, positive side. Then we're going to tin these wires, and then we're going to tin the connector and go from there. Usually I do this down here, so let's try it down here. Making sure you can see what we're doing here. Center, yeah. Sorry, trying to do it left-handed because I got a hot iron in my hand. It didn't work very good. Alright, we're going to put some solder on the back of this negative spot here, and then we're going to tin one of these sides so these will solder on easily. We're trying to not overheat the connector because it's got plastic insulator inside and you'll ruin it. I always start off by, because the solder pin has been sitting there for a little while, collecting dirt out of the air. So we clean it off with some solder. It's kind of like washing your hands. There. Now we'll start the solder process on the back side by putting some solder on the pin, getting it down in there, throw some solder on top. It's going to have to heat up a little bit. And then you can see when it's hot enough where it's flowing, where it's not sitting there like a ball. My solder's kind of old. It's got places where the flux is pushed out. I will do the side. I will do the wires. You get all solder started, but you're going to try to pull that solder through the wire. Alright? Takes just a second to transfer the heat, and that's why you put the solder on, because it transfers the heat. And then we keep the solder on top of the wire, we keep the heat under the wire all the way up to the end. That was a little sloppy, but did the job. Again, the solder helps the heat transfer. And we pull the solder through the wire. All right. Now then, let's put her together. I'm going to bring this up so you can see, hopefully the camera can focus. You can see I've got solder on that pin, I've got solder on that back piece. I know this is very hard to see. If I had a camera person, it would help a lot. I don't. So here we go. Again, the solder on the tip helps the heat to transfer. It also cleans the tip. So I'm laying this tinned wire in the back on top of the solder that I have already placed. And we'll get the whole thing melted. And then we'll cool it quickly by blowing on it. Alright? And we'll spin this one over. Put a little pressure. This is what takes a little bit of experience. I'm no expert. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a little burn on your fingers to make it right. But anyway, we got it. It's not a cold solder joint. Alright. Now, we slid our stuff on. My little shrink tube passed through that connector. I had to bring it back. I put a little slit in it before I slid it on here because I put that wire on the back side. I've moved that slit over so it goes over that, and I can kind of tuck it in because I got this metal strain relief, if you will. So I get this shrink tube kind of tucked in there so it insulates that red wire really good when I crimp it down. Bite me just a little bit. There we go. Then I take my strippers, we'll bend that over, and then we'll tuck that shrink tube back in on this side, and we'll bend this tab over. If you folks are trying to do this with, the garbage strippers, make an investment in some decent tools. And I'll show you this one. It's become my favorite, for work and for home and for whatever. It's made by Greenlee. It's a 1955-SS. The SS is stainless steel. A lot of I'm an electrician. A lot of my coworkers have gone to this stripper for, they use it 1,000 times a day. They're holding up really well. It has a place to cut your 632, 832 screws. It's a very good stripper. It has holes in it for, turning your solid copper wire for ground connections, etc. And it has a built-in crimper right there. very handy tool. At the wholesale house, you know, they're probably 15, 20 bucks. I think you can get these at like Home Depot and stuff that carry Greenlee tools, or look them up online. It's a great stripper. All right, let's put the insulator connector body on it. Tighten that up. And now for the banana plugs, I'm going to strip just a little bit more. I got that little piece of nylon to get out of there. Whoa, grab the knife right side up, why don't you? I will strip these out. About so long. And let's tin them so that when we tighten them up on the banana plug, they don't fray. They'll really hang in there. They should make a great connection, etc. Alright. We're going to pull the solder through the wire. Pull the solder through the wire. Alright. Now then, open up another package. A black one and a red one, please. These spit up like that. Now there's a spot there for you to insert that, and then you just tighten this down on it. So we put that all the way in. We'll tighten it down. Grab a pair of pliers and turn it for all I can hold anyway. You could probably grab a couple pair of pliers. I just didn't want to scratch it all up. That should be pretty darn tight. Get this one in there. Just so. Tighten her down. So I have a couple Christmas events to do music for. One of them is on Thursday. So I've been reviewing my Christmas playlist on my computer this morning, so I'm in the Christmas mood. So there we go. One more cord ready to go. And I know you don't want to watch me build any more because this was fairly boring in itself. But I have to build 5 more, so I better get to getting them, and then we'll put this, put these amplifiers in the rack. Well, gang, just a quick shot of the EV amplifiers in the Mystery Machine. I did this switch over a number of years ago. Started off with just 1, and then went to 2, and then went to 3. These will run easily 6 speakers, and then you can series those and run 12. Or run 8 and drive a pair of subwoofers pretty hard or something. It's very universal. It's very, anything I do with this fan, I can do with those 3 amplifiers. I don't need it anymore. The step van was another. The step van is designed from. Let me back up. I designed a step van to do anything I've ever thought it could do, and any situation I might find myself in, including a band situation. So I need more. So it's got more than this Mystery Machine's got, but it's got more room for it too. It's got more capabilities. All right, let's hop into the step van. Well, what do you think? It come out pretty good, didn't it? I went ahead and mounted this bottom one here. I'm gonna go through a process of labeling these. This will be EV1, EV2, EV3, EV4. Bottom one will be EV test. This is the one I took. I had a pair of speakers that overheated this amplifier. A speaker's fault. And then I kept resetting, thinking I had just created a hotspot. I put too much around it or something like that. But I was wrong. And eventually one side wouldn't reset anymore. It died. Half of it died. But half of it's perfectly fine. And I do want to, I kept this thing around for testing purposes. I do want to be able to use it for testing. So let's just put it in the rack. I bring the speaker wire out, those cables I was making, and I'll mark it EV test. It's an EV amplifier. It's the test amp. And I can test some piece of equipment, and if it trips it out or, you know, causes problems or blows it up or whatever, I haven't lost a good amplifier. I lost the test amp. So I pulled the big Peaveys out. I hate to see them leave the step van. I love them, but they're power hogs. And if you've watched my other videos, you know there's some batteries down there, and there's an inverter there. I have 4 ways to power this step van and my rack of equipment. And I want to be able to use the battery and inverter as much as possible. And those big amplifiers, those big Peavey amps, simply draw too much power. They're big, they're bulky, they're heavy. They're old school. I love them, but they gotta go. I'm gonna leave these 2 other amplifiers in there. I have to look them up again to even remember what their rated output is, but they're not significantly more than the EV amp, so we're gonna run with them. So, just a little video today to explain how I'm switching over from old school amplifiers to Electrovoice amplifiers. I also run Electrovoice wireless microphones. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And in my microphone drawer, there are the 2 body packs and 4 handhelds. They are the Telex version, which, if you know a little bit about Telex and EV builds the Telex microphones. So that's what we've got. Still got the old school PV mixer. We got a 24 channel Yamaha mixer that we carry with us. And I need to clean this thing out a little bit. It's still packed in from other events this summer, and kind of get it ready for a Thursday night this next week, in case I want to use this vehicle. It's weather dependent. If it's really nice, I'm going to throw a couple subwoofers in here and get everything set up for, they're doing a Christmas music downtown. For that, I'll grab my 18-inch PV subs, and I think I have 4 PV 115 Internationals in here. We'll just run those 4. So I'll just load 2 subs up, get the garbage out of here, and run the sub through the crossover. Get it down there into the 150 hertz and lower, something like that. We'll give it its own EV amplifier, and then we'll run the other 4 speakers on one other amplifier. Alright, let's ramble on long enough, but I am happy to get this done. I just got a little wiring to do and get those things plugged in. That hole is still there for a graphic equalizer that I'm working on. It's also another video in the process. The part for that was supposed to have arrived Wednesday. According to USPS it did, but it never showed up at my house. Other orders did. That one did not. I'm hoping one of my neighbors bring it over today. If not, tomorrow. I get to order another part for that same part again. And we'll fix it next week if it actually shows up to the house. That would be cool. And then we could fill that last hole. And, of course, we still have room to grow down here, don't we? All right. Thanks for watching. If If you want to leave a comment for me, please do. I'll get to them eventually. If you have a question or something, I usually get back to them. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. Hit the thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. That's your payment to me for making videos, and that's how others find my videos, by you telling them it was worth watching. We'll catch you guys on the next one.